Hi there, I've received comments asking how this was actually made, so I thought I'd try and put another video together. I took a scrap piece of metal. All I simply did was laid the piece on there, made sure it was big enough to cover it. Then I simply cut it using scroll saw with a metal cutting blade in. And then this piece was marked off at every 90 degrees using the lathe, and then a mark was put halfway across the width, so you then got your intersection cross points at each point, then dock pointed all four, then drilled them with a 3.5mm drill bit, then tapped them all out with the drill bit. But while that was clamped in in the vice on the milling machine, screwed onto the scrap lens, I drilled one of the holes through this as well. Then as I moved to the next point on here, which I chose the one opposite, I then brought the piece of scrap plate round, drilled through that as well. So I'd got my two screw down points, that was fine. Then I set the milling machine up for the next hole, having released the screw, moved it out of the way, lined it perfectly up, brought it back round, put the screw in, drilled down through there, same again with the fourth hole. Then after I'd done that, I then tapped out each of the four holes, screwed the plate onto the back, mounted it in the lathe, brought the profile in as close as I could to the original piece, took that scrap off by turning it round because it had obviously cut through slowly, take it away and then bring it into the exact profile of what I wanted. Those four screws, either I need to look to see if I've got some shorter ones, or I'll just need to take the ends off those, because I cannot have those protruding past the thread, otherwise they'll interfere with the internal workings of the iris. Okay, so now I'm going to cut a piece of scrap metal. Okay, I've just zipped through that. It doesn't need to be accurate or anything anyway. It's just going to be screwed to it, mounted in the lathe, and that'll be turned round. Okay, next, using what I have available to me, which is my centre punch, mounted it in the chuck of the lathe. I'm struggling to get this clear for you. Mounted it in the centre of the lathe, used that to get my tool at the centre point of the spindle height. Next, going to mount this into there, and then I'll be able to scribe a line straight the way across. I'll then move it around by 90 degrees, put the other two on. That'll leave me with the four marks. And once I've done that, I'll set it up to put my centre line that goes around, so I've got my four crosses. Okay, I'm going to do that next. As you can see, I've mounted the scrap lens back into the lathe. I've locked off the lathe so that it can't rotate. As you can be seeing here, that's locked off. Now going to bring in the tool. Okay. Okay, so it just touches. We don't want it to dig too deep. So again, this is not very easy when you've got a camera in one hand. Okay, that's it. Just scribe backs and forwards a few times. There we go. So I've got one mark. And I'm going to just swing that round 180 degrees to get the other mark on that same line. And then I'll do off at 90 degrees to that to get the other 2 points. Okay, I'm going to do that now. Okay, I'm not sure if you're going to see this too clearly. But I've got my first, second mark. Now I'm going to rotate this round by 90 degrees to get my other 2 marks. I'll do that by counting the teeth. Counting the teeth on the gears here. Say for instance you've got a 20 tooth gear, obviously you move it 10 teeth for 180 degrees, or you move it 5 teeth for 90 degrees. Okay, it's now marked off to all 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm now going to put the mark that goes all the way around to give the X. This doesn't need to be perfect, so just quite simply using the same tool that I already had mounted in, and just put it so that one corner is going to make contact with the surface to put a slight V-slot into the surface, only very faint. Okay, there's no need for it to be perfect, but as you can see I've put that ring on there now, so I've clearly got my cross points to dock punch ready to drill and tap out. Quite simply because it's available to me more than anything. I'll be doing all the dot punching using the automatic dot punch mounted in the milling machine. But obviously you can just use a standard dot punch. There's no need for you to do it this way. Just means that I can line it up and bring it down absolutely perfect onto where my cross points are. Okay, I'm now going to dot punch this, and then I'll then be doing the drilling of the 3.5mm holes. Okay, as you can see I've put the 4 dot punch points in. It's ready for me to bring the drill down on that now. So that's what I'll be doing next. Just wanted to make it very clear that throughout these different videos that I'm doing to do with this back plate, I've been wearing protective eye goggles, and just in case of any accidents. These can be purchased very cheaply from off eBay for about a few pound, £3 or £4 or something, if that, $5 or $6. Okay. Okay, that's my 4 holes drilled. All I'm going to simply do, put the piece of scrap plate over the top, bring the drill down again through the exact same hole, and I'm going to tap that hole out, secure the plate to this, and then go through for the other 3 holes and then tap them all out.